situation, I was shocked to see people that I deeply respect on the right falling for this. They were so scared. And what the left did is they finally found something that even conservatives who understand why we need to have our freedoms are afraid of, and that's death.
You know, the left needs today the politics of fear. This is kind of why they try to whip us into a frenzy all the time. You see, Marx thought you wouldn't need any of this. Marx thought that the revolution was scientific. It would come automatically. You don't even have to fight for it because it's going to happen by a law of history. But nowhere did the workers revolt against the capitalist class. Not in Marx's time, and not to this day anywhere in the world. So the left has realized Marx was wrong about that. There's nothing scientific about socialism. What we need is panic. So, FDR discovered in the Depression, I can do all kinds of stuff that I could never have done if we weren't in this Great Depression. And then since the 70s, the left is like, we're running out of food. In the 80s, nuclear apocalypse. In the 90s, the ozone layer is going away. The last 20 years, climate change, the oceans are rising. And now coronavirus. The theme is the same. We want to take rational people and create a crowd stampede. So because crowds behave differently than rational individuals in the crowd. If you can get people to think that their lives are in danger and they have to run, then they behave in ways, they do things, they submit to irrationality, and the left thrives.
Not only was I faced with personal harassment from wanting to study Western civilization, institutionally, we were set up to fail from the get-go. So, like I said earlier, it's like a rubber stamp approval to get club approval on campus. They were like, well, because so many people are against this, so many people, 50 people are against this, we are going to hold town halls on this issue. So, our SGA approval was delayed a month. We then had to go to 2 town halls. There were probably 200 people in each town hall, and we just had to listen to people's questions and comments on why they didn't think the club should exist.
Give me some sample questions.
And comments. Some comments. So the best would be, and I think at the age ones, that I feel unsafe having this club on campus. That it's an atrocity, and I don't feel like I belong at Trinity with a Churchill club on campus. We were accused of having Koch brother money.
That's my favorite accusation that I get.
Yeah, do you get that all the time,
all
too?
the time, and I just want to say, I'm not against taking their money, but I haven't taken it. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, I'll take the Koch brother money, but it's a weird thing when you're conservative. You just get.
Yeah, they're like, the Koch brother money. It's like, what is that? Yeah, they're it's the craziest argument, and this is what mostly the faculty would make, is that we were essentially taking money from the Koch brothers, and then we were using it to run this club to then rig elections, like student government elections. And I'm like, where did that idea come from? We literally just want to have 2 dinners a year and read books. First of all, where does that come from? And 2, how is that, can we talk about the issue of Western civilization?
Right.
Let's get back on track. And they just wouldn't. So those were a lot of the town hall questions. Most people made the same question over and over again. So everyone would come up and be like, Western civilization is white supremacy. They said that in our mission statement, we said expansion. They took that as legit domestic terrorist expansion, like KKK stuff. I'm like, what are you talking about? We're reading books. We put expansion in there because I think we wanted to expand our knowledge and expand our horizons with it.
But it's a dog whistle expansion.
Right.
The word expansion is a dog whistle for wanting to expand your club into a cell for the Ku Klux Klan.
Right. It just gets out of, you can't even make it up. So then what happened was after that, they were super, I just sat there and I was just like, this can't be happening. This can't be real. But it was. So me and a few other club members, we decided that let's meet with the people that are voting on this to approve us. I feel like I'm a pretty personal person. I feel like if I talk to some people, maybe I can understand what the real issue is, and maybe we can talk about it and talk it out. I was naive, obviously, but so I get in there, and I thought we had a pretty productive conversation, and I kind of was talking about things with you, which is that I recognize the hypocrisy in some ways that Western civilization has had, but every day Western Civ strives to correct those mistakes and to move forward. And I think that, the freedoms that we have right now are given to us by that. Our ability to sit in this room and have this conversation and debate Western civilization can only happen because of Western civilization. and just no one really got it. So we even talked about changing some of our mission statement, or just changing the wording just to kind of get it over with, and they wouldn't even budge on that. So we kind of realized that, like, they don't care. This isn't about us actually, like, this isn't about us reading books. This isn't about us doing anything. It's that professors, administrations, and this happens all over the country, have conditioned students to believe that Western civilization is bad for no apparent reason, just in a way to just gain power over the narrative that they.
And I think by humor we win. Humor is one of the most powerful tools that we have.
They are able to not only make you miserable, but get you to fight for your misery.
That's right.
They got Black Americans to fight for their misery.
And
they
women,
get women
and
to
Hispanics.
fight for their misery. And Jewish people to fight for it, and they're able to do that.
They got Jews to hate Israel.
They did. It's incredible.
It's incredible.
It's incredible. I speak to them, I'm like, wow. I mean, and I'm sitting here arguing with them, trying to say, and I just ask questions. I'm not here to pretend to be an expert, but I know what you know. The world was always ugly, so why does it only matter, and it's only relevant when you go back in history? It's like, but Jewish people. I'm like, do you know what this world was? None of us are without sin. Actually, to think that is a godless position. It's a godless position to believe.
Well, it is godless, and this was one of the great important moments of my life when I was at graduate school. I was walking around Columbia, Midtown Manhattan, or Upper Manhattan, and I was going crazy because my teachers were teaching me drivel, nonsense, true nonsense. And I kept thinking, why are such bright people teaching me nonsense? And all of a sudden, I had gone to yeshiva, which is Jewish school, all day long, half the day in Hebrew, religious subjects, half the day in English, secular subjects, of very strong grounding. So we would open up in first grade with some prayers. Usually they were verses from the Bible in Hebrew. I hadn't said this verse since second grade, and it came to me in graduate school out of nowhere. That's why I call it an epiphany. And that answered my question and changed my life. All of a sudden, the verse came back to me in Hebrew. I won't bother saying it in Hebrew. Wisdom begins with the fear of God, from the Bible. And I go, oh, now I know why there's no wisdom at Columbia. There's no God at Columbia. And that has stayed with me to this day. The secular world has no wisdom. They have knowledge. There are very kind people there. There's no question there are secular kind people. Absolutely. But there's no wisdom coming from the secular world. That doesn't mean all religious people are wise. There are religious fools. But all wisdom comes ultimately in the Western world from the Bible-based world that we had. Lincoln didn't go to church, but he read the Bible every night. And he was a very wise man.
Thank you guys for watching the latest episode of the Candace Owens Show. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. As many of you guys already know, PragerU is a 501c3